Welcome to the seventh session of these videos, which is about studying and learning skills for undergraduate medical education. My name is Mohamed Hassan Taha. I am the director of the Medical Education Center at the University of Sharjah and medical educationalist. This video will be about presentation skills and will go through important tips related to presentation skills before, during, and after the presentation. Why this is important for you? As medical students, you are doing presentations many times, and this presentation actually influence your clinical decision making, team understanding, the patient safety while you're presenting patient scenario to your colleague or to your senior, and also professional credibility. And poor presentation can cause misinterpretations, cognitive overload, as we discuss cognitive overload in the video number 5 in this series, loss of trust, and definitely clear presentation. Clear presentation will reduce the error. Let's see the outcomes and objective of these sessions. The outcomes of these sessions will be planning effective high-quality presentation, discuss the elements involved in giving presentation, highlight the significance of body language in your presentation. And please keep it simple by, whenever you think about presentation, think about 4 B's. Plan, prepare, practice, and then present. Plan. Who is your audience? Why are they there? What is your goal? And how long it will be? And where will it take place? If you want only your audience to remember 3 things in your presentation, please write them. Write your message before starting your presentation. Before coming to your presentation, you have to identify your presentation. You have to do good research about the topics, and you have to think about the methods of your presentation. And it's very important to do rehearsal and to do your presentation to your colleague before coming to the class. One of the common problems that not only junior students, most of the presenters, they face is the stress. And the next slide will talk about how to manage the stress. It's very important to learn. You learn how to open, how to sustain, and how to be. It's very important, and this will help you to overcome the stress. In order to overcome the stress, you have to reach early. Accept that it is perfectly normal to feel stress, because there is a very good stress, or could be also needed sometimes for success, but not the pathogenic stress. You have to practice and get feedback from your colleague, from your co-worker. And you have to be realistic and set realistic goals. Accept that you are human and mistake is okay as far as you are learning from your mistake. Anticipate questions and prepare for them. You can use a relaxation exercise such as deep breathing, and you have to encourage yourself. Always talk positively to yourself, and because your thoughts will affect your confidence. And you may have like a glass of water handy in case you develop dry throat, or you develop you are nervous. Very important to get a plenty of rest the night before and get to the venue early. Then, after considering this all, you have to, let's go to the structure of your presentation. Think about set, dialogue, and the closure. Okay, it's very important to consider that we need to open gaps before we close them. This for the set. And our tendency is to tell people the facts. First, though, they must realize that they need this fact. This is very important. So this is very important. So the logical way is uh, to create the importance and urgency for your talk. And you can start with a story. You can start with something that people want to listen about it. And the importance of set here is to get attention. For the dialogue is to develop or to deliver the content, and for the closure is to make the take-home message in your presentation, and this is very important. So, set, dialogue, closure. For set to get the attention, for the dialogue for the content, and for the closure for the take-home message. It's very important to consider the attention span. Attention span decrease over the time. This is very old study showing the attention span decrease after 10 minutes. But believe me, now with the many distractions and social medias and in the new generations of learners, attention span even before these 10 minutes. While planning your presentation, think about this. The message is affected basically by the body language. So pay attention to your body language, then to your voice, and then to spoken word. For the body language, I will start with the visual, which is related to facial expression, eye contact, smile, hand, managing your hand. Like don't put your hand like this in your pocket, or so you have to manage your hand effectively. Don't use your hand in this way. Having a good dressing, good gesture, and using the visual aid effectively. And we have to balance between creativity and presenting a professional presentation. So what is about your hand? We have to avoid this way or this style while doing the presentation. And we have always to keep, or also we have to avoid this style in presentation and this style because it shows that we are not confident. And always try to keep our hand in this way rather than this way because it's related to the communication. And for the body language also it is context related and it differs between culture to others, but it's very important as a presenter to understand the culture clear. For the eye, please remember these three things. A good eye contact, it shows that you are comfortable, you are confident, and you are connected. This is very important. We have to pay attention to our tone in terms of volume, in terms of when to stop, when to have pacing while doing transitions. And it's very important or your audience will sleep in your presentation. It's very important also to consider the tones for the clarity. You have to emphasize, use a different tone, and so on. So now we discuss the body language and we discuss the voice. For the word, the verbal, we have to avoid the fillers such as I see, and so on. And most of the presenters, they have this filler. And it is a matter of recording. You can record your presentation, watch, figure them out, and then you can overcome them. Now we'll go to the second part of this presentation. It is related to PowerPoint presentation, how to prepare it. PowerPoint help us. Remember that PowerPoint is 8. So we need to use the PowerPoint as a 8, not pay more attention to these slides. The single most important thing that you can do to dramatically improve your presentation is to have it like storytelling. And please remind yourself with these 3 rules. Ideas, then building your slides, and finally paying attention to the rehearsal. I will show you example of slides that, not a good example of the slides. Please try to identify what is the problem with these slides and presenter. This example of very crowded slide and the slider and the presenter is sitting while doing the presentation, looking at the slide, don't looking at the audience, and this is one of the issues that we need to consider and to avoid it while doing the presentation. Uh, we have to keep the word count per each slide not more than 40. And it's very important to look at and to think about picture suitability effect. For example, this is a bird. This is symbol for bird. Previously Twitter, now X. What is the best? The best is to have word along with the picture. And this in psychology called picture superiority effect. And studies show that if the information is presented orally, people remember about 10% of the content 74 hours later. And the figure maybe goes up to 65% if we add pictures like this or like this. So adding picture is very important. And according to brain rules, according to John Medina research, your brains interpret every letter as a picture. So please try to consider this while preparing your slides. And we have to be innovative. Sometimes we don't like to, there is no need to have many text. Here, for example, here Steve Jobs, when he wanted to present this new model for Mac, he just presented in this way, which mean a lot of words. This is very important thing that need to be considered. And we can use many alternatives. For example, here this example of very poor slide for when you want to describe the mechanism of bronchial asthma. It's too wordy. So instead of using text, we can use this flowchart. It's very important. Why? Because according to the John Medina, the same author, that brain doesn't pay attention to boring things. When brain detects an emotionally charged event, the amygdala releases dopamine into the system, and dopamine greatly aid the memory, and people they start to think about your presentation. This is very important. So it's not to stick in the self of the learner. And creating an emotional charge even ahead of time is very important. It helps to identify the learners to the one thing that you want your audience to remember and to talk along about long after your presentation. So people will talk after your presentations if you create emotional charge, and creating emotional charge by storytelling and by establishing relevancy and establishing the needs. Again, remember set dialogue and closure. So every slide should be written like a piece of poetry. The rest of the presentation will be about some hints for the presentation. Keep the font in this way and the text in this way, this for the title, and use always Arial Time New Romans in presentation. Avoid such style of font. Avoid using many colors in your slide. So try to use maximum 2 colors, or maybe one for the heading and one for the rest of the slide. So avoid using distraction, this part of the slides, and using animation, which is non-professional in academic presentation. Sometimes we should not mix certain colors, like black with blue. This is very important, or like green with yellow. Is very important to avoid using this color. It's very important to know that in the keyboard we have some functions that we can use. For example, if I press on W, it will become white like this. And if I press on black, it will become black like this. So when to use this function, for example, if I'm doing the presentation and I want to have like a class activity or a group activity, and if the people is look at the slides, then it will create some sort of distraction. So in this case, it is very important to close the screen while talking to the people, and we can use it either pressing W for white or B for black. Again, I'd like to end with this slide. The steps of effective presentation: we should plan, we should prepare, and we should practice. Thank you so much for watching this video, and now we will move to the uh, eighth video in this series, which will be about academic writing for undergraduate medical education.